while I'm still thinking. I've been I've been sitting like this, just reading and watching things and building, and so now I have the bad beard day. How my beard usually turn out during the day. That's why I have a comb. I am currently building out, starting over. I think I was starting over on building out the Discord server for the tribe. I've been focusing way much today. Not way much, but I've been focusing a lot today. I have been focusing on creating scripts for YouTube videos that is going to sufficiently or hopefully understandably explain psychedelic integration coaching. And with that, there has been so many thoughts because, all right, should I just share the psychedelic integration coaching, or should I start to share the vision about the Valhalla Center, or should I do all these different things? So a lot of thoughts and how to properly communicate those things. And so as I'm going through research and as I'm going through blueprints, I guess, for setting up the most efficient Discord server for, conveying the message that we want to convey, and also set it up so that it's easy to use, which is one of the major things that I have been focused on, is just creating the most friendly, user-friendly experience that is possible, and that is hard. It requires a whole bunch of focus and thoughts and questions and challenges that one might not normally think about. I know I don't. When I'm talking to people, I have a tendency to speak in such complicated language sometimes. And I don't know why that is, but I'm always trying to see how can I simplify my thoughts. That's actually a good explanation for what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to simplify my thoughts. And that's also why I'm doing this 100-day challenge, because I want to really be able to get my thoughts and ideas out there in a way that does make sense for everyone. And in doing so, I've been always been put into the different situations where I'm challenged on how I talk. One of these things is during the psychedelic experience, and I'm thinking this out loud, so that's why I might not make a lot of sense right now, because I'm going from one topic that might not really seem relevant to the other. But as I'm trying to simplify things, and as I'm trying to build the most user-friendly experience, and also trying to get out the message and the knowledge that I have, I'm being sent these messages from an event that happened yesterday. And it is about, the insights and the effects of psychedelics. And so far, I've been talking to people about their experiences. I've been in experiences myself. I've been in experiences with other people. I've been talking to people after the experience. I've been talking to different people regarding different settings of the experience, and a lot of all the things that I can get my hands on to really see if there is a way to explain this concept, to know as much as possible about the different aspects of it, and to basically be able to navigate it more safely and respectfully and almost predictably. But I don't believe it is possible to predict a psychedelic experience. And that's why I think this is so hard, because I'm trying to predict something that is unpredictable, and that has led me to a lot of questions. So I was sitting here doing this thing, and I received these messages and voice notes from the experience last night. And I'm left with so many thoughts as I'm looking at this. In context to the others, or in contrast, in relation to the other experiences with these same people, the experience were massively different. And so here is what I was thinking, and I'm going to just say this out loud right away, just so that I don't keep things in and I don't think about things myself without getting it out there to see what other people think about this. Here we go. The 11th of November, 2022, we had a retreat with the first group of 4 people who didn't know each other that much. So I knew everyone. And I organized this retreat somewhere on the planet. We met up, people flew in, and that was the first time we actually met as a group. So from there on, we just got to know each other, right? And we all had this intention, we all had this anticipation almost of what was to come. And it went great to some degree. During the experience itself, we were visited by something, like an entity. And pre-experience, I had been preparing for this because this was the first time I had a group like that. And I was in communication with what's something you could call a spirit guider, or I like to call him my spirit headhunter, or interdimensional headhunter. It's hard to explain, but he's more or less a medium, kinda. He works in energy and he helps people to see their past lives and then their relevance from the past lives to this life. And I was very open-minded, so I just talked to him and he shared things that really made me think. Like, that was so specific that it should not have been possible. So I'm just gonna have to be open-minded. And so I did. We were in communication before the retreat, and he said that you're gonna be visited by an entity called Haruman. And I was like, huh. Okay. What does that mean, though? Well, this is a spirit that will try to impact the experience. So it is wise to set up protection systems, basically, like a bubble of good energy around the retreat location. I was like, whoa, that sounds fucking, advanced. That sounds like something that requires work, and something that, if you're very open-minded and you just take those things as truth, or not really truth, but you really consider them, then you have something completely different on your hands. So I was like, oh, okay, what do you need? We went through the preparations and we then met up at the retreat center with that spiritual, energetic backup, basically, who was sitting there in another place on the planet and helping us energetically. And that thought was like, that's interesting. During the retreat, Haruman came to visit. He came through I'm just going to say this as I experienced it, more or less. He came through one of the participants, and in the form of isolation and doubt. So, hold on, we're going to be visited by a tractor right now. There we go. This participant did everything he could to share how he felt isolated and to talk to other participants in a way where they had to, use a lot of energy to keep him grounded and hold him present. It was very much about explaining the process of the experience and what this will lead to, and how he had understood it, and how it was like this and how it was like that, and how everything made sense. It was like he became a teacher, because now he understands, kinda. Instead of just being there, instead of just being present in the moment, like most people in that location at that time were just sitting there in silence, and they were just going within themselves. And one of the other participants actually said that, you're really making it hard for me to enjoy this experience, because I see nothing but the seeds that you are planting right now. He ended up in a mental institution afterwards. Like the participant who said that you're messing up my experience. But I don't think that was because of what actually happened during the experience. I think that was because of a new understanding of reality and Christ consciousness, and given his history and his surroundings up to that point, and I'm talking about his entire life and the trauma and challenges that he had been faced with, and also his medical history, how he's been using plant medicine as more of an escape instead of a tool, and how he has, he's been in a traumatic and challenging experience for quite some time, and his environment at home was also not supporting anything in terms of mental health. So, when you get that insane new world view, a new way of seeing reality, and you have, your current foundation to base this understanding on, you might see things differently. And he believed himself to be God, which is a very, very repeating pattern of people who go into what they call a psychedelic induced psychosis, because they believe to be an entity. And I understand them. There is a concept called Christ consciousness, and this allows you to more or less feel the same powers as a deity. You feel like a creator, and you feel like you're part of everything. And sometimes when you really feel physically that you're part of something, and then you also know what that thing you're part of is, in terms of the cosmos and the planet and the energies around everything, you can actually hear and see these energies very often. And it's not something that I'm going to try to explain for those people who don't know what I'm talking about. But when you see the world like that, you understand that what you have been told so far might have been a lie. And then you make up your own conclusions of what that lie could have been. And, some people end up as believing to be Jesus Christ. And that's why they call it Christ consciousness, because you realized yourself to the point where you have complete control over your reality. You see things a lot bigger than you used to be when you were simply in a flesh vessel, like in a body, and just being human. That power comes with great responsibility. When you see that side of what the human life experience can be like, and you are questioning these absolutes like death, then it is a lot to wrap your head around. Which is why I believe that the whole mushroom journey should really start with personal development and understanding these things before you go through it. So understanding your emotions and your feelings and how you react to different things in your life currently before you go into the psychedelic experience, because in there your feelings and emotions are going to be hundredfolds. Like, that's more or less what the medicine does. It enforces you. It boosts your ability to sense, and it boosts your thoughts, and everything that you focus on becomes immensely bigger because you are present in that. So if you feel love and you know how you feel love, so you can almost visualize it in your head, you will then be able to almost become love. It's like synesthesia. When the brain is undergoing a psychedelic effect, it will communicate between the centers in the brain. So normally your sense of smell will be connected to that part of your brain so that it can communicate whatever happens through your nose and the signals that goes into your brain. It will then decode that and give you the sense of smell. Same with the sense of hearing, sight, taste, all those things. I believe there are actually more senses that we normally don't think about, but that is activated during a psychedelic experience. But during a psychedelic experience, your brain will then communicate from all centers at all times. So all of a sudden you smell a color or you taste music. And in those cases, you become the thing. Like, I had one experience where I was listening to a violin, and I've always only had these experiences where listening to natural instruments, but I was listening to a violin and I became the violin. Like, I could feel myself being struck by the bow of the violin. Like, when that touched and made frequencies and fraction, within the string and the bow, I felt that as if I was the string and the bow. And the music that came from that movement, from that interaction, became these frequencies and this journey that I kind of went into. And it's very hard to explain how that feels, but it is a very beautiful experience, because now you are able to not just think about something, but actually become that something. So dreams and different things and states that you can do during a psychedelic experience is all up to you and the setting, the set and the setting. And set being your mindset, how you think and your mentality around anything in your life so far. what you are thinking about and focused on and feel like as you're going into the experience. And then your setting is where you do it, like the environment you're in and how safe that is and what you have and what you need and what you don't have to think about, all those things. If you're in an environment of like a heavy metal, death metal concert on mushrooms, I don't think that's a very good idea because of all the different distractions and all the different inputs and all those things that is happening at such a concert. So let's say that the ceremonies that I conduct is in a dark fire hut with a fire and with access to nature and all these natural things, meaning that you don't have anything that basically affects you during the experience other than the thoughts that you get, which is good because you can then focus on what you have to accept. You can focus on what you have to deal with. And, it's very, very noisy in silence. So you get a lot of insights in terms of yourself. But also, we have, through a lot of years and experiences and a newfound understanding of psychedelics, we've found that you can basically prime your mind. You can focus, you can prepare, you can put yourself into where you want to go. So let's say that you want to go into the universe or listen to how the science or the current understanding of those who came before you, how they're trying to communicate that connection that you feel. And if you know the intellectual knowledge of this, if you have heard of the concept, and so you have some sort of a visual image of how that looks, and then you feel it, then you change your life. Because it's, as I've said before, it's one thing to intellectually understand love from what they've written about love. But love is so individual. Love can be manipulated in so many ways. If you're in a destructive relationship, your sense of love could be the only times you feel interacted with. Let's say that you're in an abusive relationship where there is physical harm being done. Some people can be taught that that is what love is because they get used to it and they kind of block themselves from that reality. But when you feel love, then I don't think there's a limit. I think that the more you go into understanding the concept and the feeling of love, and the more you consciously focus on feeling more of it, the more you're going to free up your entire essence to just feel positive things. Not just positive, because you're also aware of the negative, but you've accepted the negative as a part of getting you to where you are now, so that you know the contrast. But see, if you only know the contrast, then you can't really understand love. It's like you can't understand what love is until you've felt unloved. You can't understand what, or really be grateful for is a better term. You can't really be grateful for a warm shower if you haven't been ice cold. You can't really be grateful for having a full tummy if you are starving, if you're not starving. All these things, you need to have the contrast, is my humble philosophy in life. Because then you can have more realistic but also consciously productive view on where you want to go in life. And that's what psychedelics really make a fantastic job of doing. Because if you are taught these new concepts that allows you to have the seed plant in your mind, so you think that, holy shit, maybe there is another level after what I have currently experienced. Maybe what I have known so far is not where the line drops. Maybe that's just the next level until I understand something more. And then psychedelics comes in and you become the feeling. And because you are able to become an instrument and be music and frequencies and love, you have so many different things you can experiment with, in my opinion, because I have no idea. There are so many things in the world that is yet to be discovered by me that I have no idea. But that is my current understanding of it. But with that understanding, I also think that if your set and setting is in a place where people might be a little victimized, maybe they have problems that they're dealing with on an ongoing everyday basis, maybe they see the medicine as a escape. Hold on, car again. Maybe they see the medicine as an escape tool and only kind of get the truth while on the experience itself. Then I think that there are possibilities and potential for an outcome that might be severely different from when you are doing it in a dark room, right? That brings me back to what I've just been handed in terms of videos and voice notes. One of them said that he just went through hell, true hell. He was scared shitless, and he was shouting to the other participants to help him. Which in many cases is an ego death. And based on my understanding, last time he still had trauma. He still had things that he had to work through and accept. And the way he's speaking in his everyday life is also very much an indication of that he still have things in his mind that is continuously popping up that he can't accept, which means that there are still processes to be had during such a session. And those are good. That's a bad trip. And a bad trip is simply a lesson that you have to learn. And he said that while he was accepting this and processing this, he was sitting with a campfire. And as he was sitting there, the northern lights, Aurora Borealis, appeared on the sky. Now, can you imagine such a serene moment when you're sitting outside on a mountaintop at night with the fire and the northern lights brilliantly shining above your head? That is a thing of beauty that I have issues comprehending. And with my understanding of being in a psychedelic experience, I can't even imagine how insanely beautiful and transformative such an experience has to be, especially if you love nature. But as I said, this was after the hellish experiment or experience. So that made me wonder what is going on with the rest of the group then. And I received a video from one of the other ones. He was eating a brush, like this little. It's a small bush, but it's kind of growing on the nature floor. And he was sitting there, experiencing this, and eating some of it, and then spitting it out again because maybe it could be poisonous. And he was saying that now I get it, now I feel you. We are one. We are at one with everything, and this is the peace. There was a lot of things. I'm trying to think as I'm talking here, but there was a lot of things there that kind of showed the other side that I saw during the first trip that I had with him. And he was the one that was visited by Haruman. And then I was thinking, is he that now? Because last time that didn't go so well. If we didn't have experienced guiders there, things could have really ended up bad. And I was thinking, what would happen then if he was kind of the one who was initiating the experience? And I still have so many questions about what that looked like, and I will get them today. But I think that he influenced the other one who had the hellish experience. And I think he instigated an ego death, which in many ways are very good. It's the best thing that could happen in my mind, because then a part of you dies. Many will actually explain, or they will describe their sense of ego death as actually dying, actually facing death, and going through some horrific experiences. I've had, I think, a few ego deaths. And as I said, to the point where I don't think maybe I said that, but now when I do a psychedelic trip, and I've been experimenting with this for some time, every trip is more controlled almost. It's like I don't have those processes anymore. I have gone very deep in myself to work on what I have to work on. And so when I take the medicine, I basically get grounded and in more control over how I perceive reality, which means that I can be a very good guide for those people who still have processes to go through, because I can be there as a mirror that occasionally responds to what you are saying. So I had one who went through a few processes, and my policy is basically to not interact at all. As little as interaction as possible, just being there to make sure that they are safe and that they know that they are safe, and that anything is in a very protective environment. You know, they're completely safe and surrounded by love. So I just gave him a few prompts, basically, to help him deal with the process in a way that felt manageable, yet not manipulated by me, because I think that you need a hellish experience. But there are many ways to facilitate that, I think. Which is also why I'm thinking that this was the best thing that could have happened to him. But maybe I would not be able to provide that. Because it's so direct, it's so huge. And would almost be like, if I was to instigate that, it would almost be going against my values, if that makes sense. Because if it was instigated by the same event that happened last time, where a lot of focus was drawn and a lot of energy was spent on making the group feel uneasy, like people said directly to him, please don't speak anymore because I am getting so stressed out by it. Because of those, I can't do that. Like, because of my rules of sitting there, shutting up, and interacting as little as possible, and then always doing things from love and safety, it goes directly against it, because in my mind, it feels like I'm consciously providing harm for a person if I was to do that. And I can't really comprehend. See, I'm having issues trying to see how that could be done. And I don't see, because I think that the result that he had was so profound and transformational, I can't say that is wrong. But it goes against what I would have done, which just goes again to show that psychedelics has so many facets. So extremely many facets on how you use it, what your intention is, and how you are as a person, your inner values. That, psychedelics has the potential of really showing you who you are in the universe and what your powers are, and how to really appreciate those powers as the magic self that you are, because you are unique. But many people haven't seen that. They don't see themselves as unique. They might have more fear than love in their life, and they might see reality as limited as what the system is trying to tell us that it is. But now things are changing. We're moving into a new era where people actually see that we are more than we are taught. And we have potential to create insane worlds, realities. And I say realities because my reality is severely different from what many others perceive as reality. And that's okay. I think that's perfect. As long as you go through it with like this respect for other people's opinions as well, and then you fully accept who you authentically are. And also, if you're doing things that is not producing harm, it's not hurting anyone, not bothering anyone, but you're not bothering anyone else because they have the same rights as you have to live life as authentically and fulfilled as humanly possible. So because of that, I don't say things that people should do. I just share my thoughts on what I think a psychedelic experience can be perceived as, and how to navigate it as safely as possible for as many people as possible when they are able and ready to experience it. See, my other humble opinion is that everyone should have personal development before even considering doing psychedelics, because of the risk of ending up in a mental institution because you don't understand the new reality that you have been given. There's so many thoughts, and I think that's probably why I have been so late, with my success. I have lived in a feast and famine mode for a few years now, where I will have enough and we'll go, okay, fine, I'll go get a client. And then we'll get a client and I will sell them a project, and then, that ensures that I will work for them for a good amount of time and for a good amount of money so that I'm set for a little while. And then I got sick of that. I wanted to do more that is in line with who I am. So I started to build these things. And because psychedelics is such a huge part of me and my coaching and my everything that I do, it's very hard to build a system that goes into giving the appropriate amount of value and knowledge to the person who needs it at their current knowledge and understanding of reality. It's very complex. And I saw this video today where they said that the people who really succeed in business are the people who cares. And I agree 100%. You need to care about the people that you help. But it can also be a double-edged sword, because you can care so much that you're keeping your own life from being what it could be for you and other people. But I think that's a good thing. I think that, I haven't been pushing my things on people. I think that I have kept the balance of sharing just videos like these that make people see world a little bit like I do. And if they resonate to any things that I say, then I can help them with whatever I have. But I would never assume or say or guarantee or do anything that would severely alter another person's life, unless that's what they wanted in the fashion that they wanted it to be better. I'm saying that because I saw a post yesterday of a coach that had been with a client, and this was the client speaking about the experience with the coach, that they had been arguing because she wasn't doing what the coach said, and trying to impose their worldview on the client, and then harassing them and basically laying out all the things that they said online for everyone to see, while they belittle the client. They make the client look like a horrible person. That is not a coach. That is a deranged human. And I think that many people need the self-awareness that psychedelic integrations and all these things can provide. But in that case, you need to cater to the people on their current level of knowledge and understanding. And that's why I have been late to bloom. That's what we're doing right now. That's what the Legacy Forge is all about. Holy shit. How long have I been talking? 32 minutes. Simply because I was sent a few voice notes and a video. So, I have no idea what we talked about in this video. Maybe something about all the psychedelic benefits and things. I've just been on a flow. Thank you for following that. That thought train happens all the time. I will leave you to do whatever you need to do this day. Make it amazing. If you need any help with making it amazing, you know where to find us. call.theseppola.com. I've been feeling kind of stupid and kind of pushy when I'm saying that, but I guess there is a balance to everything, and I can't only provide all the stuff that I have without saying that if you need anything more, you could go and contact me and we can figure that out. So it's about me accepting that I have value, and accepting that in order for me to provide that value, there has to be a energy exchange. And sadly, right now, the best way to exchange energy is through money. But hey, we're working to fix all that. So I'm stoked about that. But with that, all of that being said, thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for being here and supporting me and doing what I do. And thank you so much for just having given me everything that you have. That sounds weird, maybe. Maybe you're just watching this video, but the fact that I'm able to speak to this camera to get my head straight is a massive blessing. And you have said many things that has made me really appreciate who I am by just sharing your opinions of what I've said in these videos. And that is very important. You seeing me allows me to help you see yourself. Write that down, because I can't. I should have to watch the recording. Love your face. Take care of your freaking family. And I will see you in the next one.